Bruchim Aboim B'Shem Irgun Shir Torah, Moses Boston. Would like to welcome everyone to tonight's shir. All the men here in the main shul, all the women upstairs and downstairs, everyone listening in on the phone system or watching through the streaming. Bruchim Aboim. I'd like to give a big yashikach to Beilam Shem for exclusively sponsoring tonight's shir. Ilui Neshamois Gershon Yosef ben Avram Zev, Yitzchak ben Yeshua, Yosef Yitzchak ben Av Yisrael, Dovid ben Shlomo, Shlomo ben Moshe, Baruch Yaakov Yisrael ben Chaim Uri, Chaim Uri ben Yaakov Yisrael, Yaakov Yisrael ben Chaim Uri, Chaya bas Gershon Yosef, Yenta bas Meir Simmer, Esther bas Yosef, Rivka Miriam bas Chaim Yitzchak, Yitzchak Mindel bas Tovad, Yechevet bas Chaim Yitzchak, and Baruch Amirel bas Chaim Yitzchak, Alayim HaShalom, Heinish Meseim, Tzeruos B'Tzara Chaim. Irgun Shiri Torah lies in the support of the Tzibur, sponsoring the Shiurim. Call Irgun Shiri Torah at 718-851-8651 or email tapecenter@yeshivanet.com for this great schus of Abatzis Torah Derabim. Tonight we have the covered Havalos once again, Rabbi Dovid Goldwasser Shlita, Rav Kalb B'nai Yitzchak, to speak on the hidden power within you. Koiches Hana Elomim is my covered the calling of Goldwasser for tonight's drasha.
Yeshakach Rav Deutsch, Bershus Hamoradasa Shlita. It is a tremendous schus for us all to be together under the auspices of Irgun Shirei Torah. Of all the organizations and all those that are Marbitz Torah, Irgun Shirei Torah over the years for our community and community around the world have been doing an unbelievable job to provide Torah on every level. Rav Deutsch, I know for many years, the work that he does with Msiras Nefesh is unbelievable. The Menal, Rabbi Loza Baruch Bold Shlita, is a person that doesn't stop night or day. When he calls me, he says, return the call anytime, doesn't matter, just call. Anything that he could ever do for Torah, for a Yid to be able to learn, for any Yid to be able to learn, is something amazing. And so I want to talk with you just for a moment. They're having their summer dinner event, Wednesday, August 21st, Chaf Av. Everybody, whoever can, come and support and help out and encourage. It's an organization that is here for Klal Yisrael. I just want to quote you for a moment. Heilige Chofetz Chaim said, Kishatamul Chacham, when a tzaddik ba le'er, a tzaddik comes to the city. So what happens? Boy mela of kol b'nei ha'er. So everybody rushes, everybody wants the bracha from the tzaddik. Ki amnam, because the truth is, hatzaras ba'olam merubais. There are a lot of people that are in need. There are a lot of challenges. There are a lot of things that have to be taken care of in the klal. So they all run. People are desperate. Lo yoleinu. V'chein yavoyu lisparech. So they all come for the bracha from the tzaddik. Avol shaychachim heim. Chofetz Chaim, the Kohen Gadol of the generation of our generation, says what? Avol shaychachim heim. But they are remiss. They forget. Ki abracha hayoyse gedoyla. Because the greatest bracha a person can get, parnasa, zivugim, good health, children on the derech, whatever a person is interested in, all of that, yesh la'asig rak bar achzokas haTorah. The biggest brachos is for a person that helps Torah. The biggest brachos for a person that comes to Irgun Shirei Torah, to the dinner, and says, you can have my $1, or $10, or $1,000, or whatever a person could give. If I had, I would give everything to Irgun Shirei Torah, because they are the hope, they are the future, it's the tikva of Klal Yisrael, that people should be involved, the masses, especially during the day, the time of Kayetz, the Zman, when the Koyach of Teva has a shlita in the world. It's a tremendous thing. Zelu Mazeh. Hashem gave us Irgun Shirei Torah. Everybody, please, hear the call. Everybody come together. Everyone be mishtatev. It's a simcha shel Torah. I would like to sit together with everybody here at the dinner. It's open to everyone. We begin this evening with the subject of koichos ne'lomim. Koichos ne'lomim are hidden powers inside of every one of us. Each one of us has koichos ne'lomim, but we don't know about it because we're sometimes not able to push that which is inside, those precious treasures that we have, in order to utilize them. And so many people have tremendous koichos, but they take away from themselves. Manu, mechayenu, mechasdenu, matzid koisenu. But I'm afraid we say it with too much kavanah. What can I do? What can a yid accomplish in this world? What can a little child accomplish? A boy or a girl? Godless, greatness. The only thing is, we are busy telling ourselves the koyach that we don't have. How I'm not capable. How I can't do it. The next person could do it, but I can't do it. The next person could learn it, but I couldn't. The next person could build, but I can't do it. The great Rebbe Loza Baruch Bold, Shlita, I have always a conversation with him before the shir. And he says, I got to tell you over the following. So in his schus, in the schus of Ergen Shorei Torah, I want to tell you over his words. The Klosenberger Rebbe once asked one of the Yingalite that they should do something in the Klau. He asked him, so the young man answered, Ich will tun, wie viel ich kann. I'll do whatever I could, wie viel ich kann. As much as I could do, I'll do. That's what he answers the Klosenberger Rebbe. The Klosenberger Rebbe looked at him. Wie viel ich kann? How much you could do? That's what you answer. He said you should know that when I was in the concentration camp, and I was there for 10 hours a day, 10 hours a day without interruption, carrying heavy boulders. I'm a Rebbe. A Rebbe is not used to carrying one stone. A Rebbe is not used to doing hard work, hard labor in the sun. And me, Zalman, I'm working all day. I'm working with the stones and the boulders, and I can't stop for a second. I never realized that I could do that kind of work. I never realized I had koichos ne'lomim. And the Klosenberger Rebbe could be a laborer out in the fields in the hot sun, in the freezing cold, under the Nazi watch, Yamach Shemom V'Zichrom, and carry it. So I realized that the impossible is possible. It was a matter of survival. Do you know what it means? Wie viel ich kann? You know what it means, what I could do? Do you understand the depth, the amkus of the neshama of a yid, of anyone? You can do a lot more than you think you can do. I would like to start off with the words of the Koichos HaNefesh from Rav Meir Shechter, Shlita. Yadua Mashiv Ligu Balei HaMusar. The Balei HaMusar talk about the Koyach Hatzumim, the great Koichos that we have, Hatmunim Ba'adam. They are inside of us. Va'af Chachmei HaTeva, even those today in the secular world, will reveal Ki ein ha'adam moitzi el ha'poel b'meshach yimei chayv. A person does not accomplish in his whole life afilu asiris mikochas hanevesh, even a tenth of what a person can do in his whole life. Certainly, B'nai Yisrael, asher temunim bo koiches kabirim, we have huge koiches inside of all of us. Mikoyach nishmasoi, from the koyach of the power of the neshama. Hachatzufa mikisei kavod, that was taken from the kisei kavod. Can you imagine the power that is inside of every Jew? However, there are times when a person puts limitations on themselves. What are the koiches that are inside of a person? What is an individual able to accomplish in this life? It's very difficult to be Messiah, because when we start to try to measure it, we measure it as a boss of a dumb would measure it. How much could I stand? How much could I carry? How long could I learn? What could I do? All the things that we start to put limitations on ourselves. And he talks about the king of Morocco. This is from the Navardiker. The Alter of Navardik said that the king of Morocco got very sick, lo aleinu, and he's lying in bed, and they can't heal him, and he's deathly sick. They brought in the best doctors, Maaseh Shahaya. They brought in the best doctors from all over the world, and they couldn't heal him. Nebuch They thought, he's gone. No hope. No way he's going to get better. All of a sudden, they were talking around him. They go to the king's viceroy, and they said to the king's viceroy that his enemies are now going to wage war because he's ill. They feel it's the Shas HaKosher. It's the correct time to wage war against him. And they're going to be able to decimate his rule. Immediately, when he heard this, the king overheard it. Immediately, he took all the koiches that he had left. He sat up in his bed. He had a refuah. And for 3 years, he personally conducted the war that was able to defeat his enemies. What did it? Koyach HaMetzuka. When he heard the besuros of the milchama, when he heard the news of the war, all of a sudden, the koiches inside of him came out. Rabbi Sai, believe me, everybody here, everybody throughout the world who's ever going to log on, who's ever listening, who's ever in any way attached to this shir, everybody, you should know we have a lot more koiches than the king of Morocco. We have a lot more koiches than that individual. We have to believe in ourselves. It takes an emunah, bitachon atzmi, as they would say in Eretz Yisrael. It takes the self-respect, the self-image, to know what a person can accomplish in this world. And not only us, but everybody, our children, our families, even if up until now we haven't been zoicha, a person can never tell when is going to be their moment to shine. Even after many, many years, a child wasn't matzliach, a child could be very matzliach. Even after many years, a person wasn't feeling good, all of a sudden they could turn the corner and feel good. Even after many years, a person, chas v'sholem, didn't meet their shidduch, a person should never be miyayish, ever in the world. There is a tremendous amount of koyach that we have inside, and an individual has to know how to put that koyach out. Gadlus ha'adam, the greatness of a person. Interesting. All of us, we learn, Klau Gadol Lomar b'Shabbos. Everybody knows this. We all learn it in Masechah Shabbos Daf Samaches Amud Beis. Kol ha'shoicheach ikar Shabbos v'asam ha'melachos harbe. A person forgot at Shabbos, and they started to do a number of different things. A guy calls me up, Shivasa B'Tammuz. Shivasa B'Tammuz, right? I'm just getting up for minyan. He says, Rebbe, what do I do? I said, what's the problem? He says, I forgot at Shivasa B'Tammuz. Now, I didn't ask him any particular questions about how he forgot or the morning. Right? I said, yes, and I ate. So I said, well, if you ate a little bit, it's okay. You can fast the rest of the day, right? We won't talk about Meisiv Tanis Lataniso, where there's another. Yeah, but Rebbe, I ate more than just a what did he tell me, a kazayas. I said, well, I'm sure you didn't eat that much. No, Rebbe, I had eggs and home fries, and I was still hungry after that, so I made myself some hot cereal. Mahadran min mahadran, that's a breakfast. So what's he do? He did a lot. He forgot. Melachos harbe, b'shabbosos harbe, many different shabbosos. Eino chayav ela achas. He's only obligated one. Ketzad. So we go and we hear a case. What's it talking about? Tindik shenishba leben anechrim. The tinnik shenishba ben amim, right? The little boy, the ger shniskayer ben anochrim, or the ger that was niskayer, the ger that converted. But also melachos harbe b'shabbosos harbe, enochayev elochatos achas. Even though they did a velt, even they did a lot, they're only chayev one chatos. Okay, we understand that. The great mashkiach, Rabbi Yerucham Levovitz, the mashkiach of the Meir Yeshiva, asks a question. Why should the child have to bring a korban at all? It's an oinus. Hatinik shenishma. What are we saying? Okay, now go back. We'll check all the time when you did this and when you did that, and now you'll have a bill that you have to pay. Of course, he should be completely exempt from a korban chatas. He answers, you know the reason we ask this question? The only reason we ask this question is because we don't understand the Gadlus Ha'adam, the Madregas Ha'adam, where a person stands in this world. You see another individual that walks into Beis Medrash. You can't tell what level the person is on. You can't be Meshayar. It is impossible to tell the level of another Yid. Someone goes through Mesiras Nefesh. Somebody goes and they have it difficult. They have Nisyonis, and they're Oimei B'Nisayon. How do I know I don't have to stand up when he walks into Basar or Beis Medrash? How do I know I don't have to stand up for him? That's koiches. That's madregas ha'adam. Maybe I got to stand up for him. Or I check, I see, should I stand up for this one? He's a Talmud Chacham, but my father's also a big Talmud Chacham. All right, I know he knows Bavli, but does he really know the Hu Yerushalmi? I don't know. My father learned Zohar. I'm not sure that he's Boki in Zohar. I'm not sure whether I should stand up. See a person come in b'msiras nefesh, an individual that is oisek b'tzorchei tzibur, you stand up. Mavel al arayin. Hagoyin Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky Zecher Tzadik Livracha said something very interesting. He says that everybody knows we stand up by Yivarech David. In many places, V'ato Moshe B'Koil is the custom that they pass around the tzedakah, kupa for tzedakah, and they go. The Gabba goes around the Beis Medrash to collect. So he says, why do we stand up at that moment? In fact, he said something else. Lo yolena ba'al kol Beis Yisrael. At those times when a person should only be in the past, they go into Levaya. Lo yolenu. So they bring the nifter in. Everybody stands up right away. Hagoyin Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky said, did we stand up for the person when they were living? What's a pshat? So he says a fascinating idea. We stand up for the oisei mitzvah, for the askonim that are involved in the klal. The Hatzalah member comes in, you stand up. The Misaskim member comes in, you stand up. The volunteer in the hospital, you stand up. The chaverim come in, you stand up. Why? These are people that are oisek b'tzorchei tzibur b'emunah. So the Mashgiach says the only reason is that we don't understand the greatness of a person. That's why we ask, why should the child be chayav v'chatas? He says, however, the greatness of a person, the koiches of a human being is so great that even if he never understood that there's a Shabbos, even if he was never taught about it, inside his neshama, he senses it. And he says it's similar to Avram Avinu. When Avram Avinu was going from place to place, and he saw there the beer that was burning, and he said, who's the balabir? He called out. Avram Avinu, nobody taught him. Nobody scolded him. He didn't go into yeshiva. He didn't have chinuch on any level, but he sensed it inside. That's the greatness of a human being, that we're able to sense it, and we don't even realize it. But in order to move ourselves to the step, when an individual have the hisoiris to bring out our inner godless, we need to know that it takes hisoiris. Hisoiris, a moment of inspiration. When the great tzaddik, Hagoyin Rabbaran Kotler, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, was nifter, he was Torah in America. What Rabbaran Kotler did, take a look in Lakewood, there isn't a question. Why is it that Lakewood is, it's like Nes Nifla, continued and continues to flourish. There's no question. Rabbaran Kotler walked the ground in Lakewood. Every inch that he walked, every place that he rode, has a bracha that is a l'mayla min hateva. There isn't a question about it. So when he was nifter, they decided to take the Heilige Rabbaran and to bury him in Eretz Yisrael. To bury him in Eretz Yisrael, they decided they will have 25 bochrim that will accompany the Aron and go to be Melave, the great Gadol that would be buried in Eretz Yisrael. They all went. Many of them, not like today, many of them had never gone to Eretz Yisrael. Many of them never saw any of the Mekaymas HaKdoshim. Many didn't experience the greatness of Eretz Yisrael. So, there were the Bochrim, and they wondered, they were there for the Levaya anyhow. They finally made it to Eretz Yisrael, so they decided that maybe they should spend a few extra days, look at the Mekamas HaKdoshim, it seems to be okay, and then afterwards they'll go back. However, Chas v'Shalom, such a decision, Chas v'Shalom, to make that decision on their own was an impossibility. To miss the days of learning, to stay in Eretz Yisrael, even though they were already across the world, they decided that they would go to the Mashgiach, Hagoyin Reb Chaim Shmulevitz, Zchusa Yogen Oleinu, to ask his Eitzah. And so the Kvutza came in to the great Reb Chaim Shmulevitz and they asked him. Reb Chaim told him the following. In Volozhin, there was a bocher that was eating in the dining room. You can imagine what they had in Volozhin to eat. So another bocher came over with him and asked him a shaila, good shaila. He didn't have the answer. Had to be Meshiv. The bocher was very upset that he didn't have the answer. He got up from his learning, from his eating, and immediately went into Beis Medrash, and he started to learn. He didn't say Birchas Hamazon. He sat there for 7 hours in the Beis Medrash to get the answer to the shaila that was asked from the bocher. 7 hours! 7 hours continuously on hefsek. 7 hours without a coffee. 7 hours without anything else. Reb Chaim Brisker heard about it, and he said it could be that the bocher was chayiv to remain and first say Birchas Hamazon. But if he would have restrained himself that amount of time that he needed for Birchas Hamazon, perhaps the impetus, the chiyus, the hisoiris would have evaporated. He seized the moment. He made the kochos ne'lomim come out. And so the Rosh Hashiva told the bochrim that assembled, at this time, you have the regesh. You heard that spadim. You're moved. You understand what happened. You put into the earth the greatest tzaddik on the earth, the one who started Torah in America, Hagoyin Reb Aaron Kotler. In this moment, the Roshim is still on you. You got to return to Lakewood at once. All of them immediately departed for the airport and came back to Lakewood, New Jersey, to learn in Beis Medrash Gavoya, to continue. Kochos ne'lomim. Can I wait, or does it have to be right now? The answer is, it has to be right now. Our davening. Many times, people calling all the time, can you daven for this? I have a list that I take out during Shemona Esrei. List. People ask to daven. Daven for this, daven for that. People don't realize the koyach that they have in tefillah in itself. The koyach of anybody, of anyone, not somebody who has great kavanah, not somebody who before davening is meichin and they go to the mikveh and they did all the achonis and they say the tilim before as it's brought down. Not somebody that did all this. A regular Poshet Yid, if there is such a thing as a Poshet Yid, comes in the Beis Medrash, has no idea the koyach of tefillah that they had. Avram Avinu got Sarah Imenu upset with him. Shalom Bayis. Why? I'm upset with you. You weren't mispalo for me. Rashi HaKodesh tells us that Sarah said, when you daven, you omitted my name. You daven for yourself, but you should have davened that I would have a child. That's the great mashgiach of Lakewood, the former mashgiach. How could it be? We learn. It's poshet. We learn in Maseches Yevamas. Ein lo vlad. Hafilu beis vad. Ein lo. She didn't have the capabilities to be able to bear a child. If so, how's the tefillah going to help? Says the great mashgiach Rav Achvogel. We see from this that a person can be mispalel, even if they think it's impossible. It can be mechadish a bria chadasha. It can bring something new into this world. What's my tefillah? If I think that my tefillah is something, and I learn it, and I understand what the tefillahs are, there's one tefillah that's answered, I love it, is one tefillah that it says, Tonu Develio, it's answered one time. Yid comes in the Beis Medrash, they daven today, boom. By the time they leave, they open up and they see that the stock just went up, it broke, and now it's split, they're going to get double. One tefillah, one time, Borech Aleinu, when they got it. Then there's another Yid, he's answered after 100 times. Then there's another Yid that's answered after 1,000 times. Then there's another Yid that could be answered after 5,000 times, clearly. Maybe a person wasn't answered the first time. Would they give up? There is a Yid that used to call me almost every week. Rebbe, give me a bracha that this week's lottery ticket is going to hit. It's good. So I always gave him a bracha. I said, but will you remember the Rebbe if you win? Yeah, sure. I'm going to remember, right? Every week he used to call like clockwork. Can you please give me a bracha? I'm going to the lottery. I promise I'll take off Meiser. I always remind him, Hagoin Rabbi Aaron Kotler said if you got winning, so maybe you should take off a Chomish instead. He said, I'll think about it, okay? He called me everything. Did he ever get tired? No. Did he go to the store each week, take a look, losing numbers, put it away? Did it ever discourage him? No. It was mamish, Omer ala mishmor. He did his work like a soldier, never stopped. After a while, he stopped calling me. I'm not sure exactly what it is. Maybe Yovid. I hope that he won big time. But the idea is that a person is a koyach. So you didn't win the lottery the first time. Continue. It's like that piñata. You hit it one time, so it didn't open. You hit it a second time, it didn't. A third time, it didn't. You knock on the door in Shemayim. By the 50th time, maybe it'll help. By the 100th time, we don't give up. Every Yid has a tremendous koyach. This year, we had the P'tira of Haigavra Rabbah, the Sklena Rebbe, Zecher Tzadik Kodesh V'Tar Livracha, Heilige Sklena Rebbe. And so, he was ill in the hospital about a year back, very ill in the hospital. And one of my brothers, a Rav Meir Tzvi, Shlita, went to be Mevaker Choyla. And he got in. He's Mevaker Choyla, the Sklena Rebbe. And at the end, he tells the Sklena Rebbe, have a refuah shalema. The Sklena Rebbe said, wait. And my brother didn't know what he meant. All of a sudden, the Gabba ran to him and he said, the Sklena Rebbe wants that you should hold his hand when you give him the bracha. My brother held his hand. He gives him bracha. Sklena Rebbe wanted him to use a slightly different nusach in the bracha according to the Rashbam. My brother used that nusach for the Sklena Rebbe. Sklena Rebbe, he needs the bracha from us, from my brother. I mean, my brother's a big tzaddik, but from my brother. The koyach of every Yid, unfortunately, we sometimes just miss it. We just let it go. We don't understand the tremendous ability that we all have. If somebody asks, will you be mispalo? Be mispalo. But be mispalo very strong. Know that your tefillah makes a difference. Not mayel tefillasi, mayoyom tefillah. What's my tefillah going to help? An individual can never tell where their tefillahs are going, what they could do, what they could be poil. It could be poil Yeshuas with a tefillah. The only thing is, we sometimes, unfortunately, we're self-deprecating and we take away from the kochos that we have. Hagoyim, Rebbe Chonon Wasserman says the following. The Chavetz Chaim was ruggled to say the following. Yesh b'chayadam ragoyim asher neletz lachlit be'inyin yadua. Person sometimes has to make a decision in life. What should I do? Should I continue? Should I do this parnasa? Should I continue? Should I go out with this person? Should I not go out with this person? Should I continue on this way of learning or on that way of learning? What I should invest in? And the Indian is nogelo ad nefesh. But the person doesn't know what to do. One of the greatest things that people call for today or come in is clarity. Should I do this or should I do that? Someone called me from Eretz Yisrael on the Inyan of Parnasa. Should they go in this way or should they continue in what they're doing? And we went back and forth for a half an hour from Eretz Yisrael. It's clarity. Hu bali deyeush. Unfortunately, when a person does not know what to do, They get very upset, they get frustrated, they delay the decision, and sometimes they reach a point of despair. I don't know what to do. I had somebody that could not be machlit. He was going out, and I encouraged him and encouraged him and encouraged him. This is the right one. You went out long enough. Now, go for it. Ask her. Go to Kiddushin. You learned the Masechta enough already. Be'iyun, Bekiyas, anyways. Get married a girl. I have to decide. Rebbe, thanks. I appreciate the chizuk. Do more than the chizuk. Do something. Right, good. He waited. I get a call back. 2 months. Rebbe, you know, that thing, if you're allowed to be mispalo if somebody else is engaged, are you allowed to mispalo that they get unengaged? Are you allowed to go to try to take her? Is it a case where I can still try? I said, what happened? Catch me up. He said, well, you know, I have my own clock, and I can't be like rushed or anything. So now, this girl that I was going through with for years, she got engaged. So I called her up. She won't take my call. I said, good girl. Good girl. Taras HaKodesh. That's the way it should be. Not even a text. Not even a text. A mazel tov. A text is a way to corrupt what hasn't been corrupted b'dibur. We could corrupt by texting. Not even a text. He said, okay, but what does the Rebbe think about it? I couldn't tell him what I thought about it. But I did have several thoughts about it. I'm afraid in life that individual has the koiches. They've got to use them. There's a shasa koisher. We are moving through time. It's already ikvus de Mashiach. Hagoyin Rebbe Chonon said it. It's ikvus de Mashiach. We don't have any question. My great Rebbe, Reb Simcha Wasserman, Zecher Tzadik Kodesh Shator Livrocha, when he got the ikvus de Mashiach from Rebbe Chonon, he edited it, and he went back to his father, to Rebbe Chonon. Only a son could go back to his father, and he told him, it's a little too strong. I'm not sure that everybody could read what is there. Could you, tone it a little bit? And Rebbe Chonon did. So Rebbe Chonon writes that what can a person do? Be'emes. An individual should never, ever be miyayish. They should never in life get worried. Why? You can ask Hashem. You got a difficulty? Make an appointment with Hashem and ask Him. They said, how is it possible? Chofetz Chaim said, every person has that ability. We have a Torah that includes an answer to every single thing that we have in the world. There is nothing in this world that is not alluded to in the Torah Kedosha. The Eitzah, plenty of Eitzahs, and he gives examples of Eitzahs in business and Eitzahs in other places that Hashem Yisbarach gives to us. Plenty of Eitzahs that we're able to do. We just have to follow through on them. Eitzahs the Torah Kedosha gives. Chofetz Chaim says that if a person would know how to do this, they would bring out their koiches. Sometimes an individual doesn't know. I have the ability to find out the answer to this in life. I don't have to float through life without having that answer. I always wondered. I went to Europe, and I had the great zechus to be by the Rebbe Reb Melech on his yard site. Zechus Yogen Aleinu. And I'm on the way, and some people, they're very nisragish at that time. They're unbelievable. The hergish is there outside. If you didn't go, Misha Leira, you got to go. Outside, after, while it's shkia, while the sun's setting, there's thousands of people. They make a rikud, and they dance, and they sing, and there are a lot of people bring instruments, and it's unbelievable. An elder Yid came over to me, and he leaned on me. I didn't know, I think he needed to lean in order to stand up. I was in the circle, so I slowed down. And he said, I would like to ask you something. I've had it in my heart for many years, and I never felt that I could speak to someone about it, to confide, but I think that I could ask you. I said, please. He asked me something that he's thinking about over 2 decades. He never asked anybody. I told him an Eitzah that is in the Torah Kedosha. Pure, clear, open for anyone. He asked me to repeat it. I did. Afterwards, he thanked me, he kissed me, and he left. Approximately a month later, I get an email with his picture in the circle where we were, thanking me. The Eitzah worked out. 20 years he didn't ask. The Chavetz Chaim says it's ready for everybody. Nobody has to think about it. The koyach that a person has, the koyach HaTorah, to straighten out our lives, to know what to do with our lives, it's right there. But we have to listen. That brings out the koyachas ne'elomim in each and every person. The key to Shalom Bayis, the keys that we need in this world, how to have it that the children are able to go in the correct way. A tremendous question in today's world. Children to go on the derech, children that came from the best homes, from the greatest homes of Yerushalayim, the greatest homes of everything, but yet, for some reason, they find their way out. And Agoyin Rebbe Chonin says that's a reason in Ikvus of the Mashiach that the Satan, the Sar Shalesav, comes to town. And who does he try to affect? He tries to affect the young people. It's not this problem or that problem or Hefkeris today or that. The young people are great. The children are great. Show me anybody on the derech, off the derech. Those kids are the ones that guaranteed Klal Yisrael. When Hashem Yisrael said, I need an Arev, give me an Arev. Nobody was able to stand. Who was able to stand? The children. They'll be our guarantors. Those are the ones that will take achrayas, the kids. So how do they go off? Because today, the Sarah Shalesav isn't around. And when he comes around, unfortunately, he goes for those that are the choices. He goes for those that are mahadrin min mahadrin, the young people. So how's a person watch that their house should be good? They're careful in their house. They're careful. They have a simcha shel mitzvah. They train up the children in the proper way. They make sure that the Yiddishkeit by them is a simcha tzuma. They make sure that it's a happiness. They make sure that it's good. Somebody was riding around. They were davening last week. I don't know what you call that kind of a board, a skateboard, but it's not a skateboard. It's the newer version. Hoverboard. We have an expert here. Do you have one? No, okay. A hoverboard, right? A hoverboarding around in the davening. So somebody came over to me and said, is that proper? Davening on a hoverboard? So I had a few answers for them. I said, it's unbelievable. Mi ka'amcha Yisrael goyachad ba'aretz. They're on the hoverboard and they're davening to the Borei Olam. They mamish use the simcha shel mitzvah of riding around, and they have roimus hanefesh, and at that time they express themselves to Hashem. The person who does such a thing is great. We don't say, this is what kind of respect you have for the Borei Olam. You're riding around the hoverboard. Maybe go in a sports car around town. Look at it in a different way. How would Reb Levi Yitzchak Berditchever look at such a Maisa? You lift them up. You tell them your davening is unbelievable, even on the hoverboard or whatever the thing is called. As long as a person is davening, let him daven. As long as in the tish, right? So they invited me in somewhere to speak. It was out of town, anywhere out of New York, out of Brooklyn, out of town. So this was way out of town. Australia, out of town. Maybe we're out of town. Maybe Yerushalayim is in town. Maybe Bnei Brak is in town. I'm not sure. Anyhow, so one of the kids was sliding down on the seat, and the parent kept correcting, sit straight, sit straight. It is the derech, says the Ben Ish Chai, of a child to be wanting to slip around to sit this or that. You tell them sit straight, it's against their teva. That's just the way it is. So finally, this was a very bakovidika home. So the wife tells the husband, we have the honor of the Rav here. Why don't you ask him if the child has to sit straight? So I told him, well, there's a din that on Pesach, we have to eat baseba, the koisus. You have to have baseba. If we don't drink the koisus baseba, we've got to go back and drink again. So we see that there is a makor that a person could also lean. Maybe your child learned it so good on Pesach that he takes it and puts it down throughout the year. The father said, I never thought of that. Okay, go, we'll do what you want. You can't tell. A child has tremendous koichas nefesh. Every child. They got to be woken up. You got to bring them out. You got to know the right way. The great tzaddikim, Menachem Tzidkonios, they knew how to bring it out from every child. They didn't have already something, a preconceived notion of what that child has to do or what that child has to do. There were plenty of great tzaddikim that were not so ruly when they were young. The great Reb Mendel of Orker, the great Reb Mendel of Orker, not your typical. The great Reb Nachman of Breslov, not your typical. Unruly, wild, running back and forth. Did that stop them from becoming great? And plenty of the Litvish Gedolim, plenty. When they were younger, they had a lot. When they were younger, they didn't look like they did when they were older. Why? Because the parents understood the right way to bring out the koichas nefesh from the children. And from young people as well. We don't know. Mi yodea, the greatness in every young person today. I have to tell you, I can't hold it back. I got to visit, somebody came originally from Eretz Yisrael. A nice young man came in and he made an appointment and he said, I would like if the Rav would be Masada Kiddushin for me. So usually they tell me you have to ask a lot of questions. A person comes in and asks for something, ask him a lot, ask him where's your Rav, ask him this, ask him that, get that. All I ask is this yichus. That's all I needed. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I should have asked him all the questions. Why are you coming to me? I don't know you. I don't have shaykhs to you. And anyhow, I thought, very nice young man. He brought the kala right away in the afternoon. I met the kala. I was assured that everything was kedasa kedin. And we made up that if he wants a ksuba, he'll bring me the ksuba and I'll fill it out, whatever, or I'll do it, whatever. I didn't hear back from him, and I didn't have his number. So I thought, it's strange. He comes into me, asks Masada Kiddushin, I don't know him. I don't know it. It's a little bit funny to me. All of a sudden, he calls me up. It's 2 weeks before the wedding. Rav, I just want to make sure everything's okay. I said, you didn't call me back. I don't know. Ksuba, the names, whatever. I'm sorry. I'll do whatever I have to do. I want you to know he was in my house. I don't know where he was, but in an hour and a half, he was there. He went on the Coney Island by P. He must have brought every ksuba they had. He says, I wasn't sure what was the right nusach. He brought me a colored one with painting on it, a plain one. I said, no, we only need one. Only need one, Bez Hashem. I filled out the ksuba. I filled out the Tanoim. I got everything ready. The chasana was in Queens. I went to Queens and I was going for the chuppah. After the chuppah, I was going to be busy. I was going to leave after the chuppah. I did my chesed. I went out. I go out, I sit at the chasen's tish. The Edom come and sign it. When the Edom come and sign it, the chasen leans over to me, a nice young man. He tells me, Rebbe, I have to tell you something. Can we go into the hall? I thought to myself, I should have asked questions. What does he have to tell me? Especially now, and everybody's there. I go into the hall. He begins to cry. He tells me that his father is estranged. His father has nothing to do with the family. He has nobody to walk him down to the chuppah. He's not sure if this is Bakovidik or not, but he would like to ask if I would walk him to the chuppah. Seeing him crying, asking me, I thought to myself, one time in life, I wish that I wasn't a Rav. One time. Why? Because when I'm going to walk him down, everyone's going to know that the Rav had to walk him down. If I wasn't, they would think maybe I'm his father. Maybe I'm a family member. I went to hold him, as is the minig. He took, when I held his hand, he held both my hand with both of his hands. And I led him to the chuppah. Not only did I stay for the entire Suda and for the dancing, Eze Kavod, to dance with such a chassid, Eze Kavod. I stayed after for the Sheva Brachos. I said goodbye to them. He said, Rebbe, would it be proper? We don't want that you should go out by yourself. Could I go to escort you out? I said to him, it's not the minig. You have your kala. He says, okay. I went and I got my bag. I go to the door. Chosn and Kala are waiting to take me to the car in the parking lot. Koiches. The heiligkeit of a Yid, the greatness. I'll never forget it. Koiches Nelomim. He got himself married. He paid for the entire wedding. He tried to give me money. I would never take. He tried to give me money. All himself. A young Edel Chosin. Koiches Nelomim. Tremendous power. We have another area of Koiches Nelomim. Koiches Nelomim by Nisyonos, challenges. Today, we are a challenged nation with every type of Nisayon. Forget about all the things that face us in life. Daily, Yidden have difficulties. Many different challenges. Challenges Parnasa, challenges with Shidduchim, challenges Shalom Bayis, challenges with Chinuch, challenges with Yeshivas and Beis Yaakov. Lot of challenges. Numerous challenges. But also challenges that have been brought to us in this generation that probably have never been before. Probably no other generation has experienced those challenges in this particular area like our challenge. Very interesting. By the Cheta Egel, Moshe Rabbeinu was together with Hashem. What happened was, Moshe Rabbeinu heard about that down there, they have the Egel Azav. So what happened was, Moshe Rabbeinu came down, and as soon as he came down, and he saw it with his own eyes, the koyach of Riyah, with his eyesight, he took the luchos and he smashed them. And Hashem said, Yasher koyach. The Goin points out that until he saw them with his own eyes, he didn't break them. Because the power of sight is tremendous. The Maharal comments, the Maharal says the Kriyas Yamsuf was all in the schus. Bnei Yisrael were saved in the schus of Yosef HaTzadik. Hayom Ra'a Vayonos Mara Aroino Shayosef. Why? Why Yosef HaTzadik saved them? What's the reason? Because Yosef HaTzadik went against his nature. Yosef HaTzadik had the Nisayon. He had the challenge. Eshes Potiphar is there. He's got his job over his head. He's got his life hanging over his head. He's facing who knows what, life in prison or worse. And there, you have somebody who's trying to entice him. Yosef HaTzadik went against nature. He went against all nature. And he was able to be Omed bin Isayon. And that's Chus. Mida Keneged Mida. He went against his nature. The Yam went against its nature. The ocean, the sea, was able to part. Kofel Saimois, Belev Yom. Why? Nitzvah Nezlim. Jumping in the air, all of a sudden the river. Imagine you're going past the East River, riding there in Manhattan, near HaKodesh, and all of a sudden you see in the middle, you think Mashiach somewhere. And here, the Teva was changed. Why? In the schus of Yosef HaTzadik. The power to save another individual, the power to save humanity is in the eyes. The koyach, shmira seinayim, kedusha seinayim. Kedusha seinayim, I have a sefer at home, 2 huge volumes, Kedusha seinayim. I went to one of the high schools, and I mentioned the name. One of the high schools today in Mesivta, and I mentioned the name Kedusha seinayim. 3 Bochrim came over to me after the shir. I didn't know if I should, I shouldn't. And they said, Rebbe, would you be willing by telephone to give us a shir every week in Kedusha seinayim? That's what kind of Bochrim you have today. That's what kind of Talmidas you have today. Unbelievable. And so, Kedusha seinayim can save lives. A person is Omed bin Isayon. A person is Omed bin Isayon one time. They see something and they look away. And they don't go back. But they look away. That one time, it says in the Sfarim, they can ask from Hashem Yisparach anything that they want. Anything that they want, and they'll be granted it. Anything that they want. One time they look away. So it's an interesting thing. There was a member of Atzalah, Reb Shloimeh, and he went into a kinnis. And in the kinnis, they happened to bring up Kedusha seinayim, that today is unfortunate. Nobody wants to see, but they're able to see. A Yid, I'm going to tell you, a Yid outside of Shul, there was a bus stop. So there was a tmuna, lo tzanua, a picture on there. Imagine, out in front of everybody. Out in front of everybody. So they asked me what to do. So I said, you should cover it up. So they said, what should you cover it up with? I said, cover it up with the same exact material as the bus, the color of the bus shelter. They went out, they got the exact material, and they covered it up so well that you couldn't tell. You couldn't tell that there was a picture, that you couldn't tell anything because it was covered. Someone must have reported it to the authorities. 3 days later, they had somebody come out, Mahadran, and they also washed off where the tape was. They came back into me. Rav, they took off the covering. I said, you know why? The Sultan was very upset. He wanted to see what you did. Now cover it back up. They went and they covered it back another time, exactly the same way, in the middle of the night. In the middle of the night. You want to do this, don't do it in the day, okay? Do it in the middle of the night. If you throw water on the policeman, you won't get arrested. If you disrespect authority, you won't get arrested. But if you cover up Nevala, you might. Just want to tell you. So what happened was, they went and they covered it a second time. This time, it lasted 4 days. I was mispalel that it should stay. 4 days, saving someone, saving a yid, saving a child from saying something inappropriate. Moshe Rabbeinu was affected. He saw the Egel Azov. Are we not? So they covered it back up. 4 days later, unfortunately, somebody peeled it away. Once again, Giloi, whatever. I was very upset by it because I saw that we're fighting. Baruch Hashem, I'm happy to report that there was somebody who must have been more upset than we were, because they took a hammer or a sledgehammer or an axe and they smashed out the whole thing. Then it was a beautiful, clear picture of Hashem's Bria. Nothing more. Kedushas Einayim. So this Reb Shlomo heard of how important it is. He went to the Kinnis, and they told him, you got to maintain Kedusha in this world. And he talked about what we see and what we hear, and the things that constantly come to us, bombarding us at all times. Imagery that comes so quickly we don't even realize it, subliminally, in all various different ways, pictures hitting our eyes when we don't even know about it. So everybody there was very much moved by the person that spoke, and he was makabel upon himself. He was makabel right there. I'm going to be a little more careful when I see something that's not correct, when I see something not right. The next day, he had a chance. He and his wife went to an event that they were invited to. He went to the event, which was on the second story. It was a hall, and the hall was on the second story of the building. And there he went, and when he came in, he saw that it was not the correct atmosphere, that the people that came were not 100% appropriately dressed. And Reb Shlomo recalled, he learned in the shir. He learned in the shir what a person should do. He was makabel upon himself. So he went to his wife, and he said to his wife, listen, there are things that are not correct about this atmosphere. Do you think I would like to leave? Do you think you can get your coat? She said to him, I understand you're 1,000% right, but they're just about to serve the meal. So could we just stay? We'll eat quickly, a few minutes, and we'll eat the meal. And then after that, we'll leave. Reb Shlomo said, I can't do it. Yosef, Vayonos, Vayetze achutza. He didn't wait an extra second. He left. He took off. He bolted. And so he said, I'm sorry, but I have to go. He went, and he saw, while he was coming down, there was somebody that was convulsing on the ground, had fallen from the second story inside, and nobody knew it because everybody was peeled upstairs. He's a Hatzalah member, Hatzalah. He ran over to him and saw already that his tongue was in, his eyes were rolling around. Immediately, he was able to clear the air passages. He administered CPR, and he stabilized the person. Es hanefesh. And he called for backup. Ambulances came, and they saved the person's life. Shmiras Einayim, Yosef HaTzadik, caused Klal Yisrael to have a Kriyas Yamsuf. An individual that's careful of Shmiras Einayim, can you imagine what they can cause in this world? What they can help in this world? One more Inyan, and I know we're over time, but if the Olam is Nicha, we'll just go 5 minutes. Gevura, big Shaila. What does it mean, the koichas nefesh that a person has today? You know, in today's world, it's a little bit different. So, a fascinating tshuva we have in the Chelkas Yankiv. Chelkas Yankiv talks about, towards the end of the war, the Nazis, Yamach Shemam v'Zichram, were evacuating the concentration camps. Some concentration camps were destroyed. Some concentration camps they tried to make a park over, so that they couldn't see, you couldn't see anything. So everybody would be fooled as to what went on. So what happened was that they were pushing and pushing the Yidden. It was a death march. And they were marching all of them. And everybody knew on the 10 to 12 hours that they were marched, and it had to be schnell, 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 fast, 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 that if a person would slow down, or if they were given a few seconds to rest, and all of a sudden a person would fall asleep and not wake up, they'd be shot on the spot. And that time, they made a buddy system, and that meant that each person was paired up with another one. If one rested, the other would stand and make sure that the person woke up when it was time to go. And so there was an individual that was Chayev's, an older brother. The younger brother was very tired. They stopped, and he told the younger brother, rest, I'll watch over you. What happened was, unfortunately, the older brother, exhausted, fell asleep. He fell asleep. Raus! All of a sudden, the Nazis started screaming. The older brother woke up. Everyone was called to join the march. He starts to join the march. He completely forgot. At that time, he was shocked about his younger brother. And so he marched. And when he remembered, it was too late to go back. He never saw his brother again. And so he comes to the Chelkas Yaakov in Siman Lamed Gimel, Choshen Mishpat. And he asks the question, am I chayev? Have I done something that I need tremendous kapara for? Have I done something that is an oven shelo yechupar, that cannot be forgiven? What is my din? The Chelkas Yaakov, in a lengthy tshuva, is about 10 pages. The Chelkas Yaakov goes back and forth and analyzes what it is. Is it the fact that a person forgets? Is it a case of pshia or oinus? Is it negligence? Is it unintentional, unavoidable circumstances? What is it? So the Chelkas Yaakov paskin that there's no question, it's oinus. These prisoners were shocked. They were exhausted. They were ois mensch, weak, sleep deprived, food deprived, no nutrition, unavoidable. To be shocked out of their sleep, they're completely potter. And then, about the Shaila, once he was walking to return, everybody knows, that your life comes first. And so, what happened was, he told him, do not worry about it, no guilt, no pain, no nothing. Don't worry, go on in life. And in fact, he says it so beautiful, you should read it yourselves. Chas v'shalom, you don't want to fall into sadness, into depression. That's a bigger avera than what you're talking about. And it will take you away from avodas Hashem. You got to be besimcha b'tuv levov. And he told him, if he's upset and he wants to be careful, he should be careful from halbonas penei chaveroi berabim, because kol amav min chavero berabim keilu hargoi. So you want to be careful in it. You want to be masak in it. Be careful not to embarrass somebody. Be careful always to be nice to everybody. And the second was, he said, be megadol, if you would like, be megadol hayosim, be megadol hayosim in your house. And that's the tshuva of the Chelkas Yaakov. I found from the tshuvas of Agoyin Rebbe Yoshev, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, a similar question, a little bit different. Everybody was sleeping in their bunker in camp, in the concentration camp, in the lager. When the Nazis, Yamach Shemam, would blow that whistle, everybody on the second had to be outside standing in the lineup. Whoever wasn't, whoever was still inside, they were shot. And so, one person was chayev for the other. He was chayev to wake him up when it was going to be the whistle of the Nazis. The Germans came in this time, and they were especially vicious, and they started beating. Immediately, he flew out of the bunker, and he forgot to get the one he was responsible for. So, that one was shot, unfortunately. He comes to a Goyen Rabbi Yitzchak Zilberstein, and he asks him, what should I do? Am I chayev? Is it an oven shlo yechupar? What's my tshuva? Rav Silverstein explained that Chazal are koiveya. When someone tells an individual, Ashliach Beis Din, right, hands a hasmana to a neighbor and says, please go and give it to your neighbor, The next day, it's not considered Hazmana at all. It's not considered being summoned to Basin. Why? Because we're afraid until tomorrow, the neighbor's going to forget, and he won't give him the Hazmana. So Chazal or Koiveya, when it's not Nugeya right now, each person is predisposed to forget it. That's why we have to make all kinds of simonim for different things. And therefore he said that you're completely potter. Hagoyin Reb Shlomo Volba heard the same shaila, and he said you cannot come to that generation with any complaints, because not only they didn't have Yishuv Adas, they had no das. They had no das. How could you be toiveya that they should forget? However, what I'd like to come to is the great Goin Rebbe Yoshev. They finally asked Hagoyin Rebbe Yoshev the same shaila about forgetting to wake up somebody. Rebbe Yoshev said, the Medrash in Tanchuma, Pashas Noach, says that Noach went to feed the lions. And whatever happened, whether it was late or what exactly happened there, the lion got very upset, lashed out, bit Noach, and from that day on, Noach limped. Hagoyin Rebbe Yoshev said, how could it be? The matzav of Noach, no Yishuv Adas, no das, screaming and roaring and yelling. Can you imagine it? In the chirping, a person will go mad, chas v'sholem, inside, in the growling, in all the different horrors and the sounds. How could we be toiveya? He was in the Gan Chayos. He was in the wild animal place. Imagine. How could we be toiveya from him that he forgot to feed the lion? The answer is, says the great Rebbe Yoshev, not all the zmanim, not all the times in life are the same. Not at all. There are zmanim regilim, normal times. During normal times, we can't be toiveya from a person more than their koiches. We can't be toiveya from a person more than their abilities. However, there are times when there is a mabul in the world. At times, sheloi regilium, zemanim loi normaliim, times that are not normal, times like we live in right now, olam afuch, like there never was in the world. During those times, people get special koyach. People get special koyches ne'lomim. Not only in the mabul of those days, but in the mabul of our generation. Hagoyin Rebbe Yoshev said, person's chayev. Imagine the take of Hagoyin Rebbe Yoshev to understand that we sometimes think we got a p'tur. I live in 2019, New York. It's a different generation today, man. You know what's going on out there. You know what it is. It's tough. It's rough, right? I have a p'tur, an exemption. Look, I'm from. I keep Shabbos, right? I daven. I give tzedakah. I give Ergen Shuri Torah. I'm not bad, right? Zemanim loy normalim. Times that are not normal require a lot more. And it's a fascinating idea. The great Reb Shlomo of Slonim, the Admoirim that were Nereg al Kiddush Hashem, the Admoirim that were Nereg al Kiddush Hashem, the Rosh HaYeshiva that were Nereg al Kiddush Hashem, the Tzadikim and Noshim Tzidkonius, regular people that were Nereg. So, the great Tzaddik of Slonim was there. And there happened to be a person, Mordechai, that sort of looked after the Rebbe in the concentration camp. And they somehow were able to sleep right next to each other on the board, to sleep for years. It's freezing at night. Somehow, this person, Mordechai, was able to get an old coat, and at night, he put it over the Rebbe so that the Rebbe would be a little bit warm. As soon as the Rebbe realized it, threw it off. Suffolk shatness. He wouldn't put it on. A while later, this Mordechai was able to get a different coat, a very thin one. He presented it to the Rebbe, and the Slonimer accepted it. He took it himself and tore out the lining, made sure that there was no trace of the lining left, a chashash of shatnez. And he wore it till his last day on earth. The Nazis came and they took him out. They singled him out for Kiddush Hashem. They put him in the square and they were going to kill him. At that last minute, he held up his hand. 1 second. Took his coat, threw it to the ground. He said, now that the moment of Kiddush Hashem has arrived, I still have ever so slight a doubt of shatnez in this beged. And I don't want to be Mekadesh, Shem Hashem, with a beged that has shatnez. Ezeh Gvura. Should know that the great tzaddikim Menachem Tzidkonios, anybody who was in the Shaya, anybody that was in any of the lands of dispersion, any of the lands of Syria, in Iran, in Siberia, in any of the places around the world, in Spain where Yidden suffered, the greatness, the Gvura, we should learn about it. Tisha B'Av, we're going to speak about it. Have to. So there was a daughter of the great Rav Moshe of Shinyev, and they're going to kill her. She spoke a perfect German, because where she was brought up in Austria, they spoke it. So she was able to speak to the Nazis, and she had a conversation with them. And they were quite impressed. She said, do you know who I am? She said in German. I am the daughter of the great Rabbiner, Rav Moshe of Shinyev. You should know, right now, you think you're going to kill his daughter? There isn't a question. I will be Mekadesh Shem Shamayim. I will sanctify the Nomen from God. But you, your end will be very bitter. And I'd like to end with a fascinating Yalkut. Omer Rabboni Seinu, Kol Nefesh v'Nefesh Shahara Gesav mi Yisrael. Every Nefesh that was killed by one of those that are anti-Semites on any level, Kavyochol Notol HaKadosh Baruch Hu Midam Kol Nefesh v'Nefesh. Hashem takes the blood from each of those Nefashos. V'Toivel Purpurian Shaloi. And takes his coat and dyes his coat in that blood. Uchshemagia Yoim Adin. And when the Yoim Adin will come, V'Yoshev Olo B'Bimel Adunoisoi. And Hashem Yisbarach will done up those Rishoyim. Loivesh. He will wear Oisoi Purpurian. He will wear that coat that Hashem has made. Umareloi. Gufoi. He will show them the picture of each and every tzaddik that is engraved on it. Yodin bagoyim malei gviyos. Ba'ois sha'a, on that moment, misnakem HaKadosh Baruch Hu, mimenu shtei nekamos. Shneimar, kel nekamos Hashem, kel nekamos Sophia. On that day, the Rishoyim in the world will understand. V'hoya Hashem, L'melech al kol haaretz. The Ribbonu Shel Olam, the Heilige Bas Shefer, will be the Melech over the entire world. Yiyah Hashem echad, u'shmo echad, b'mheirav yameinu.
Shem Irgen Shir Torah Moses Boston like Rabbi Dovid Goldwasser for the inspiring drosha. Rabbi say, just like you heard from the Rav about the Kirkus and Alam, the hidden powers, the Nefesh, there's all the hidden powers in the Gashmi in your wallets. You can use that to sponsor a share of Irgen Shir Torah. Call 718-851-8651. Email tapecenter@yeshivanet.com for this great exclusive of Rabbi Torah the Rabbin. I'd like to be Yashikach, the Elam Shem, The sponsor tonight's Shir Ili Nishmas, the following Neshamas Gershon, Yosef ben Avram Zev, Yitzchak ben Yeshua, Yosef Yitzchak ben Av Shmuel, ben Av Yisrael, David ben Shlomo, Shlomo ben Moshe, Baruch Yaakov Yisrael ben Chaim Uri ben Yaakov Yisrael, Chaya bas Gershon Yosef, Yenta bas Meir, Semester bas Yosef, Rivka Miriam bas Chaim Yitzchak, Itaminel bas David, Yechav bas Chaim Yitzchak, Baruch Amil bas Chaim Yitzchak, Aleim HaSholom, Teresh B'Seim, Tzuris B'Tzor HaChaim. Everyone for coming. Chananya ben Akash, Emrat Sagadosh Baruch Lezak, and Yisrael Fig Hebron Tay Mitzvah Shenem Alenei Chofetz Amad Sidkei Yagdol Teve Yade Kadosh Mariv.